The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
You know what? There is something really nice about Elbows Out Racing. And what is it, you might ask? It's the fact that I always know, regardless of where we're at on the week, we're coming into somewhere that is going to be just a very good run of things. And this is a track that is no different. This is a track that is classic. This is a track that is just known for good racing. And it's a track that I've already been told is going to produce exactly what I want to see, which is hard racing, some risk being taken, some challenging moments, and in the end, a lot of fun. It's a track that, well, I don't care what sort of a race fan you are, you better know this track like the back of your hand. And it's one that can put down some of the quickest, scariest turn one braking moments that we can possibly come up with on a race schedule. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to PTR TV, where this week, it is time for some fun action here. It is time for the Work Wrecked Me Monza. Yes, Work Wrecked Me Monza. We'll get into why Work Wrecked Me Monza, but Work has wrecked me Monza here at, well, Monza. A track that really doesn't need an introduction, but I'm trying to give it one anyways for whatever reason. It's going to be myself, Brad Dalton, here in the booth, and I am joined, as always, by Patrick Coleman, who is going to be beside me doing all the fun things here, looking at the sign of where Charles Leclerc and run in some beautiful podiums there for the Scuderia Ferrari. I don't think we're going to see a Ferrari domination tonight, but I tell you what, we're seeing some good laps put down by some drivers right now here, Patrick. And how are you feeling about the Monza action about to come our way?
It's going to be fast and furious, as Monza always is. There's always three things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and somebody's going to have a code brown going into turn one. It's a very historic track, probably the oldest, if not one of the oldest tracks on the calendar here. It has been around since 1929. And fun fact, in the original iteration of this track, you would actually go through an oval. So right after Parabolica, you would actually break off and go through the oval. So it's a Italian oval, which it'd be really fun to see NASCAR come here, although nature has since reclaimed said oval. But overall, the track layout hasn't changed a whole lot here. 3.57 miles, 5.793 kilometers around, 11 turns here, and a few chicanes that really like to test the drivers. And of course, the world's most dreaded sausage curbs.
My favorite version of Monza is the one that takes out turn one and takes out the first Variante. And it just makes this, and it takes out Ascari. And it's just a flat run in a circle, basically. That is my favorite layout that I've ever ran on iRacing. or any sort of sim details. Yeah, it's exciting to see here. A big shout out goes to Callan Tobin, the wonderful Mustang driver who, of course, this week isn't here. And where's Callan Tobin at this week? Well, he's at work. That's why work wrecked me Monza. I don't think I need to explain much else, do I? But Callan, if you're getting to watch, hopefully you are going to enjoy this. Big shout out to everyone in the chat as well. I see lots of love being given to a lot of different drivers, lots of different questions. You've got us for about the next hour, so we'll try to answer some questions as we go along here. We're going to let the starting grid scroll as we go here, as we tend to do as drivers are lining up. It was a surprising front row right now, though. I will say that. I wasn't expecting the front row we have. Oh, and of course it's going to be a short set here. So yeah, with that being said, let's get this set up, let's get this going. And yeah, I was not expecting a short pace lap, so let's talk about the grid if I can get things to work, which is sometimes easier said than done depending on where you are at. Here we go. Here's the grid coming up. This is what we wanted. So yeah, Dylan Ackley and Emily Milkey in the front row here. Very impressive as the cars are getting lined up. We're going to, again, just let this kind of kick through really quick. We're looking at over 40 cars here, Patrick. I am excited to see how everyone does here today.
Indeed, Monza is a track that you can do some pretty good overtakes here. But there's also some moments where even if you have nobody around you, it just takes 1 millimeter of taking any of these chicanes wrong, and it's pretty much just game over from there. Turn 1 is always a really tricky one, especially on lap 1. So there's probably going to be a little bit of bumping and barging going through there. The second of Variante right before the Lesmos is always a tricky one. And if you carry too much momentum into Lesmos, you're going to end up becoming a rally car. And Ascari's got a lot of those very dreaded sausage curbs that can send your car to the moon and back. So it should be a really fun race here. And there's also a lot of good opportunities for these drivers to get past lap traffic as well, especially right after Ascari and just after Curva Parabolica down the main straight. It's a high-speed track, probably the most high-speed track that we have on the calendar here for the season, but I think some drivers are going to make some really good moves coming into some of these corners.
You and me both. Couple drivers I want to mention here, kind of just looking through of who's where in what. I see one name that I am very familiar with, and you should be familiar with because I know you cover some triple bypass. That is going to be one Mr. Stephen McClendon here, who I can't get a good shot on his car because of where he's at, but he is someone that you should be familiar with if you've watched any of our triple bypass coverage because, well, he tends to be on triple bypass and be up in the front and in the fun nature here. I know Zach Nerney's been kind of giving him the old elbow here for a while, trying to get him to come over, and well, he seems to have done such a thing and has made his way over here. So good to see that he has made his way around. I saw one driver who I believe is in the wrong class, and I can't find who that was showing in as GT3M when they're actually in an LMP2. Doesn't matter. Doesn't look like I actually see them here. We're waiting on drivers to get on track at the moment as it goes. Keys to the race. Let's talk about this for a minute here, since it looks much better weather-wise right now. Keys to the race as they stand. 60 minutes, 3 classes. Mandatory pit stop, 4 tires, 1 backup car. That's not the key to the race. That's race that tells. Keys to the race here, Patrick. We didn't go over these before, but I have a feeling that you're going to agree on at least one of these. So looking at it, it looks like LMP2 here. Timing the traffic, that's going to be a big key here around Monza, a very, very quick track. In GT3s, I expect a Variante Spinala. And if you don't expect a Variante Spinala, then you probably haven't seen enough Monza to know that it's not really turn 1 you're scared of, it's the last corner that you should be scared of. And then all of them, use your brakes. You don't need to overdrive this doggone track. Don't be afraid to actually slow down. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes through. and how that plays along here. Cars are rolling, Patrick. Final thoughts before we get this one on the road.
Best advice to anyone who is not in P1 in their respective class: use the advice of use your brakes. Do not use the car ahead of you as a set of brakes. But honestly, I mean, don't try to. They say no heroics into Saint Devoc from Monaco. Here, no heroics on lap 1. Just, you have 60 minutes. You have a good amount of time to make those positions, because it is pretty easy to pass on this track in a good amount of locations. So just bide your time. I know we were talking about the LMP2s taking their time, but the GT3s, if you're trying to get a pass, you could also just take your time and the opportunity will present itself.
Yeah, indeed. And one thing I will say here, just looking at the track, kind of thinking about what is going to be coming our way here in a moment, is we use the second start here on the start-finish line. Pace car pulls off, so they need to go all the way 3/4 of the way down and use that alternate start line. Let's see how that goes here as we come through. It is on the front row, Dylan Ackley, Emily Milkey. They've crossed the line. They've crossed the timing line, but we are not green yet. We are now green, and Dylan Ackley with a poor takeoff there. Austin Dilt's coming through. We're going to go 3 wide on the front stretch. Let's get these LMP2s underway here as they head down towards Prima Variante. Here we go, down hard on the brakes into turn 1, and it is going to be a hard dive through from everyone coming around. We've got a spin. That's the number 56 and Nicholas Paletti through. That is going to cause a bit of a traffic jam in the background. Maxwell Women's Seed, Fozzie Vazzillo in the mix of that. How is that going to happen for GT3 Pros? Well, they're coming up on it right now as they've taken the green. Paul Nye in the lead up front. Down on the inside is Peter Nodwell. It's Tyler Stenick side by side here in the run here. Watch the sausage curbs, all the gravel on the track. It's causing some fun here. Coming through 2 wide, 3 wide. Everyone makes their way through. And now it is GT3 Am's turn. Single file, as is the run week after week for them. They come through in and they have a pretty good setup here, and behind the M&M's car it does look like we have a little bit of moving around here early on. Everyone making their way through, but as it stands up front, it is going to be a run for Emily Milkey, who gets the lead after turn 1, heading down for the first time towards Variante. Ascari, through Ascari we go. Clean run here for Emily, and on the first lap of 36 expected, a 60-minute run. We're 2 minutes in, and right now Emily Milkey leading Austin Dilts.
Indeed, yeah, I think this is the first laps that Emily has led all season, which is very awesome for the 876. We've seen Emily put in some good performances pretty consistently, but this is the first time that the 876 machine has been in the lead of a race here. Maxwell Woodmansey does have a meatball flag, so he's going to have to come in and get his car fixed up here. But we do have a 3-way drag race coming down into turn number 1. And Emily is going to hold on to it. Nobody really trying to risk it and make moves here. Let's see about the next 3 just directly behind. Peridotto will lead the next 3 ahead of Dwight Hibbs and Aiden Garcia, who has a black flag for penalties as Maxwell Woodmansey comes into the pits. Now we're taking a look at Paul Nye Sr. He's going to go in and try to be Paul Nye, the victor guy, once again here in one of the most historic tracks in the world at Monza, a.k.a. the Cathedral Speed.
So, a little bit of info here on the back end that I've got as we watch the Taco Bell car try to live Moss, that 691, trying to go up the inside with a great move there, making his way through. Still side by side. This is Mike Sermon and Tyler Cook, who are taking it side by side with Bandera and Murphy behind. A little bit of info here on the back end that I've gotten coming around. Aiden Garcia has a drive-through because he wasn't supposed to qualify, so he will have to serve a drive-through. Early on the 386 with a major error there coming through, and is now going to be under pressure from the McLaren brethren. Let's see, up the inside goes William Westbrook. Can he make that semi-acute McLaren stick? And Bandera goes a little bit wide. He holds on a little cheeky on the defense, I'd say, heading through, but hey, able to hold on, and now he runs wide, though. That is Misery Loves Company coming through the second Variante as they go, that's the second curb to Lesmo as they go, heading down through I can't pronounce words. Anyways, heading towards Ascari. Everybody knows Ascari. going through. GT3 Pros on a great battle here, and GT3 AM, I do want to check in on them here as they are just behind. Patrick Rich has said adios, sayonara, thank you very much. And that is Island Bruce around in the worst place possible. Look at that.
Yeah, I didn't see the spin happen, but I saw the car facing in the complete wrong direction there. And that is Kylan Bruce who is spun around. And he's going to do a very good job of just waiting until the track is clear for him to go ahead and get on through and get back on the track. But that number 54 Aston Martin definitely not having a good time of things here as it sits.
Quick replay of how that happened. That is just an Ascari Spinala. Great defensive moves from everyone there involved with that going through. Let's take a look one more time at this from a slightly different angle. Going through, I mean, you end up there, and yeah, that's just sitting still. Meanwhile, let's go back into another moment here that I believe has happened. That is Zach Ernie spinning through the final corner through Curva Parabolica. That is unfortunate to see. Brian Metterly has had a moment as well. Let's check in on that Mustang who was already missing a rear wing, and it looks like going in through the Curva Bassano has unfortunately had to take that Mustang drifting here. Back to live pictures, let's jump in and let's check in where everyone's at. And yes, Brian Metterly with a big moment. Lots of off track starting to come through as it stands. Plenty of good battles starting to happen, though. AMs are, I mean, if you take Patrick Rich out of the equation, this AM category is absolutely stacked right now.
Indeed, yeah, and we'll have to see how these drivers navigate through this track, because something I've noticed here tonight is that a good amount of these incidents were caused because cars were just carrying a bit too much momentum. They're coming into these corners a bit too hot, and that caused, I mean, that's what caused Kylan Bruce to have a bit of a spin earlier. And I mean, I know the Mustang earlier, there's not a whole lot you can do when you're missing your rear wing unless your name is Tyler Cook at Long Beach, but ultimately, it's a track that if you come into these corners with too much momentum, you are going to spin. Or, in your words earlier, you're going to have a Variante Spinala here at Monza, as we see the Aston Martin's getting really close there to the back. This is Hugo Ortiz trying to go ahead and close in on the Mustang of Travis Bell. He's going to go ahead and try. He won't make a move into turn one. That is a very good call, honestly, because we're just barely 5 minutes in and we've already seen quite a few issues here on track. A few drivers just coming in a bit too hot. There was the turn one lap one that happened in the LMP2s, and then the few spins we've had in GT3 Pro. We'll see if Hugo Ortiz can get the moves done. There are some pretty good spots to get some overtakes here coming up. Right after the second Curva de Lesmo is a good spot to try to get a move done. Just on that massive straight coming up into Ascari, and we will see if the 372 can get it done.
Definitely think it is possible here. It's just a matter of nailing it through as they go. And again, if this is your first time, make sure it's not your last time. Make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bells. Go check us out on Facebook. I'm finally getting back into Twitter or X, whatever you want to know it as. So expect to see some action there. We've got some big plans coming up for 2026. Of course, we do have coming up soon the All-American race, which is arguably our biggest race on the channel every year, although Elbows Out has managed to give it a run for its money here a couple of times, but it is one of our crown jewels of the year. But Elbows Out, I tell you what, we've had some great showing from them. Check it back in up front here at the moment. It is Emily Milky leading by 0.7 of a second here over Dylan Ackley, with Austin Diltz making a big dill pickle here in the middle as we've got down the front stretch. As soon as I want to check on them, just absolute carnage coming its way towards turn one. These guys don't know how to give it a chill pill at all in the background as they go. Look at that. Deep on the brakes goes Tyler Cook. Goodness gracious me. Mamma mia. And I just remembered I'm on the stewards for tonight.
Oh. Oh, Godspeed, Brad. I mean, I have so much respect for stewards in any series, but it is Monza. It is probably one of the most incident-prone tracks you can possibly have on the calendar. So, I will airdrop you a 5-hour energy if you need it.
I probably will need it, to be honest. So, thankfully I'm off work tomorrow. I'm off of my day job. I wish this was my full-time job, but alas, it is not. For I do enjoy my salary at work and the things I do. Checking back in up front here on the battle on the front. Emily Milky, Dylan Ackley, Austin Diltz, top three, continuing to have a good little run here as they go through. Let's see how they go here as they head towards Ascari yet again. Emily really looking in control here. And I'll tell you right now, we were chatting with Dwight Hibbs a little bit pre-race. And they were saying, hey, Emily's fast. I'll tell you right now, Emily is very fast, and it's been exciting to watch. You're going to see things flicker here for a second on the screen. Ignore it, please, as we try to get those GT3 AMs to cooperate, which is easier said than done, I have to tell you. Sometimes GT3 AMs like to really, really be the fun of the time here, Patrick. And right now it does look like Emily is just dominating this race.
Yeah, so far the 876 has been rapid here around the Temple of Speed. And we'll see if Emily can keep up this pace. And like you said, Emily has been quick all day here. Dylan Ackley is trying to put some pressure on, but I mean, Dylan, he is going to have a pretty good slipstream coming down the straight, so maybe he can get the move done here, but I mean, time is flying by. Like, it feels like we've been here for about 5 minutes, but it's been 10 minutes already in this race, so we'll have to see. And it looks like, just based on turn one, Emily seems to be taking the first Variante much better than Dylan and Austin here at this moment, as it looks like Dylan is closer to Austin than he is to Emily. So it might be likely that we'll see a battle for P2 quicker, as we have Fozzie Fazillo into the pits. Oh, yeah, his car had to get a little bit of a buff.
Yeah,
had to buff some stuff out.
Fozzie picked up some sort of damage somewhere, and honestly, I don't know where. I don't really have anything telling me where it happened. Something I hadn't thought about, though, Patrick, while I'm sitting here trying to look through the incidents, and I think you have this on your back end as well, the amount of track limits violations that are happening is kind of scary. And I do worry, how is this race going to go if track limits are the big name of the game? That was not what I expected. Apologies for the flashbang grenade that just got through. Top three now separated by nothing coming out of Ascari, heading down towards the curve of Parabolica. The one last curve to go here, and how is this going to go as Dylan Ackley is now up into P2, Austin Diltz in P3, and Emily Milky able to hold on for the moment, but traffic coming up. And, well, this is where things get fun. That's the number 31 diving out of the way is Zach Nerney. Zach Nerney, this is going to be a day he's going to want to forget. He's bottom of the leaderboard here as it stands for everything.
Am I seeing two LMP2s bump drafting here? Are Dylan Ackley and Austin Diltz bump drafting? Because, I mean, there's no separation between those LMP2s coming down the straight. Although it doesn't matter if you're bump drafting, because Emily is just on the ball here tonight. That 876 has just been so rapid here, and it might be Emily's first win here of the season.
Listen, if you want to see some bump drafting, we'll go back to the GT3s here in just a moment and really check out some bump drafting. I think Emily might be getting a bit of a nice time here, as that was a GT3 off. That is an M&M car. Not Joel Bandera, but this is Joel Bandera off in Ascari. Live pictures here for you as Joel Bandera is...
No. That kind of scared me, because I was looking to see who the M&M's car was, and I turned around and McLaren got punted into a Spinella.
All right, so I'm going to break this one down, and I'm going to be a little bit not nice about it. We're going to start this replay really quick. I'm going to slow this down a bit. And the 45 here of Patrick Rich, that was our AM leader who just got involved in that. We're going to hop on board, and I'm going to do something I don't normally do in live pictures. I'm going to rewind it here. So you see the dust. You see the dust ahead. He's not lifting. You see the car to the right. He's not lifting. And then last second, yanks it to the right. On board, that felt a lot less worse than it actually was. However, Patrick Rich is now in the pits, and his car is donezo. We're going to take one more look at that here for Patrick Rich and Joel Bandera. So this is the off. And again, I think Patrick Rich possibly could have avoided this, but I will tell you right now, I will see this again later. So we're going to let it be as it goes. And I'll tell you right now, even more drivers are going through. Joel Bandera, of course, a massive meatball flag there. Wow. Okay. That has officially sort of jumped me through. And I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, I am looking at about 50 off tracks in the last lap for these drivers as they go. Yeah, off tracks and track limits penalties are going to be a big problem.
As they typically are in Monza. I mean, because a lot of these corners are carrying so much speed that you should have a lot of momentum, and I could promise you, I don't know on your end if it tells you where all the track limits were specifically reached at, but I can make a pretty solid guess that it's probably somewhere within the Lesmos or the chicane just before the Lesmos. The second of Variante is probably where 90% of those track limits are coming from. On board here we have Daniel Pinheiro trying to go to get past Andre Wedderburn for P2 in the GT3 AM class here. Gonna try to make the run, trying to go too wide into the Prima Variante. Gonna go for it here, but very nice, respectful racing room. I think there's a tap from behind, and these two make it through. Now you can go too wide going into that corner, into turn one, but how successful or even the likelihood of you facing the right direction afterwards is kind of an iffy one, as we're about to see another overtake attempt coming into the second of Variante, but once again, Andre Wedderburn having the better line going into the chicane, and he will keep P2 in class for now, but we're going to see some massive dives here.
I mean, look at the runs behind these guys. The trees are kind of preventing me from actually showing it, but look at just the sea of cars from behind here as they go, and just more battles happening right now. Steve McClendon and Vincent Leherbier. VLH. VLH is now your nickname because you're driving an Acura. You're welcome. Anyways, they're behind Hugo Alexander Ortiz and having a good run here in the battle for P13 in class as they go. Vincent will probably send me a message after the race and be like, hey, Brad, this is how you actually say my name. Since I know you've read the pronunciation form that I may or may not have filled out, but you still aren't saying my name right.
Oh!
Nice.
Contact between Dylan Eklund. I think that was Austin Dillon. There's more carnage up ahead. That's a GT3 Mustang off there. I think that might be Matt Toppin, maybe? I'll have to look at the spotter guide to try to identify that Mustang, but yeah, let's say primarily purple. That actually, no, that isn't Toppin. There's another look at the incident there.
Okay, so let's actually get a top-down view of this one here and see if we can't actually tell how this one happened. So this was what we call a... Oh, it's a bump draft.
Took the bump part a bit too literally there.
In the middle of some of our thickest runs of GT3 traffic. That's Aaron Clayball, and that is John Javicki going through as well that's also involved in that. I mean, that is... And there's Emily Milkey. How did Emily get away with that one? Goodness gracious me. Mamma mia. Austin Diltz has now had a moment as well. Oh, just arrow. That's not even wiped. That is just... Oh, goodness gracious me. One more look at that really quick. Just...
Oh, I think Emily was right there too. So Emily got away with that because Emily was probably 3 inches from getting absolutely nuked from that spin.
Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna go back to live pictures now. Because these drivers are giving me a heart attack.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Oh, there's another one. That's another bit of contact. It's BMW on BMW violence. We were talking earlier that if there's usually an issue in multi-class racing, normally it's the hypercar, but BMWs are usually involved in here because we're not running the GTPs. I guess the BMW GT3s have taken up that mantra being the chaos children here at Monza. And even more contact! That's Dwight Hibbs getting punted around! Sorry.
Hey, Dwight, you can listen to the broadcast. You're doing what?
I'll never get tired of hearing Brad's voice box just absolutely top out.
He helped me come up with the entire idea that traffic was going to be a mess. Maybe it was Nerney, I don't know. One of them helped me understand that traffic was going to be a mess. And wasn't he the one telling us that traffic would be a mess earlier? Did I miss that? We're 20 minutes in and this race is upside down. I need a break. What in the world is happening? Emily Milky has survived all of this, though, in the mess. Poor GT3s have been taken out one way to the other. This is Ethan Murphy and Mike Sermon going side by side. I don't know how you're a Bills fan, but I tell you what, if you're a Bills fan, respect. But the Solar Racing McLaren going to the outside here. It's now a drag race down the front stretch. GT3s are all over the place. LMP2s are making their way through traffic the way I make my way through a double layer German chocolate cake. I don't know what else to say here. Let's take it 3 wide real quick here and send that Mustang around through as well of Tyler Stenick. Never mind, we'll go 2x2 here around. Stenick, what are you going to do? Have a sausage curd for breakfast, lunch, maybe a little bit of dinner if you're really feeling it. What in the world is this race? Someone.
The average Monza race, I would say, because, I mean, this is a track that we were talking earlier that this is like probably the most incident-prone track that you'll have here. I think the only track that would even remotely come close in any form of sim racing might be like F1's Jeddah or like a Monaco. But outside of street circuits, this is probably the most incident-prone track that you're going to run into here. And that's a bit of a wide moment there from Bechtel, going a bit wide there through the Lesmos. Through Lesmo 1, just carrying a bit too much momentum there. As we now take a look at the number 12 car, going ahead and getting on through, and that's a spin there for the number 12.
Craig, you're there. Absolutely terrifying in the moment. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, these are replays. This is not live pictures. This is all replays in like the past 2 laps. That is Seth Vosselman, who got absolutely sent to the Shadow Realm in the 143. Fozzie Fazzillo took to the... I've never seen someone actually use the escape road correctly. You know what, Fozzie? 10 points to Gryffindor. That's impressive. Austin Diltz, I mean, we saw this, but I just, one more time, that going through. Kylan Bruce has had a, well, Kylan Bruce, there was something more to that we missed. But it doesn't matter because that's a slamming through and, well, you know what? Yeah, if we're going to say this is a Monza race, this has been absolutely freaking something. Let me tell you. Wow, I'm impressed. As we go back to live pictures here, I want to check in up front because I think the only person who can take Emily Milky's reign is closing in here by half a second. Cody Perodato, who we know is a 7-time league champion. He's looking for number 8. If anyone's going to take it from Emily, it's probably going to be this number 51. Let's see here what he does. We've still got 37 minutes to go. I don't know if my voice can take it. We're going to find out here, but I'm going to cut back here to Travis Bell, who has Chris Stewart, Matt Toppin, Tyler Cook for company behind. Ahead of him, Stenick is leading the absolute chaos that is behind him of Sermon, Mack, Murphy, and Chiapuzzo. But I mean, nowhere to look. Is that bad? We've got Clayball and Santa Sierra battling it out here. The Chick-fil-A car versus the... Is that a Taylor Swift car that Santa Sierra is running? What is that? That looks like Taylor Swift. No, that says elbows out. It just... The cursive gave me Taylor Swift vibes. That's what I'm going with. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. You can't make me change it.
I mean, that would be the first time we have seen a musician artist theme delivery or paint scheme in our case. In one of the, I believe it's Triple Bypass Racing, there's a Avril Lavigne machine that's been raced, and I've seen an entire team on Gran Turismo dedicated to Sabrina Carpenter. So I guess that would be a trend. So seeing Taylor Swift on a car wouldn't be too surprising, although I will say having elbows out on your car is a much better choice in my opinion.
Listen, sometimes sparks fly. I don't know what to tell you, man. That's just, it's part of it. And yeah, I just made a Taylor Swift pun. Fight me about it. I don't really care. Let's talk about the rest of the season here. We're 35 minutes to go really quick. These guys are going to continue to put action down, but I do want to take a moment and talk about the schedule for the rest of the season. So I saw someone asking earlier, what's coming up when? We only have a few more races to finish this out. December 3rd is the final race of the season here. So let's talk about what's coming up. Next week, it is the Red Bull Ring for 60 minutes. Morning, no rain. It's Red Bull Ring. It's going to be wild. Let's say that. If you think Monza is wild, Red Bull Ring, that a Formula One car can get around in sub 60 seconds, that's going to give you some action. From there, we go to my baby, my bread and butter. I personally wanted this race, and I lobbied for it. I may or may not have made some bribes into some super packs. We're not going to talk about all that, but just know that this is what I wanted. And thankfully, admin loved me enough to do it. So, November 19th, the week before Thanksgiving, because why wouldn't I? It is a night rain race for 90 minutes at Daytona International Speedway. I'm going to repeat that one more time here, Patrick. Night rain, 90 minutes at Daytona International Speedway. Let that sink in. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
In the words of a certain Dutch/Belgian driver, simply lovely. I mean, I was actually born in Daytona, even though I lived there for not any period of time. But as a Florida native, I mean, that track at Sebring, just absolute peak. The Miami Grand Prix is all right, but I mean, those two tracks, I mean, especially Daytona, it's like probably the second best endurance track behind Le Mans.
I have a couple of sound bits, little sound bites that I'm going to have to find and download before next week, or before Daytona. So yeah, we'll have some fun. 90-minute races are always fun. So yeah, that's going to be a good one. I've got some fun things planned for that in my head for the next few weeks to see what comes up. November 26th, it's a fun race. It's the day before Thanksgiving. We're not doing anything serious. We're giving the drivers a drop week there. If they want to come have some fun, get some stress out, they can. I don't know what the fun race is. I'm not promising if it will or won't be aired. If I am available, I will probably stream it through. Patrick, if you are doing Thanksgiving stuff, you don't have to be present, but just know that I will possibly be streaming that. I might race in it. You never know. We might get a driver perspective on that one. We'll just play that one by ear. It's a fun race. It's nothing serious. We'll see what happens on the 26th of November. Round 11, the final run of the season will be December 3rd. It is the WEC layout, as we see a pass here. Ethan Murphy and Parker Chiapuzzo battling it out really quick. And Murphy, the Bills fan, going around getting a good run there on Chiapuzzo. The final race of the season is at the Nürburgring. It is the WEC layout of the Nürburgring Grand Prix Streck. 60-minute race, 60 driver limit, 22 pits that are shared across everyone. So, I mean, we're going to end the season on a very, very high note. I'm quite excited to see how that goes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot of really good tracks. I mean, we've been to some very amazing tracks here this season, and we got more amazing tracks just coming up. I mean, The Nürburgring GP is always a good track. It's always fun. It's tricky. It's technical. Good amount of elevation change there as well. Of course, Daytona. I mean, it's Daytona. We already talked about it quite a bit. We already gushed over how much you and I love that track. The Red Bull Ring is going to be a fun one. That's another track kind of like Mexico, where it's like you don't really think about like multi-class endurance around the Red Bull Ring too much, but it seems like it could be a pretty fun one. It might be the only track that could come close to being super chaotic like this race is here tonight at Monza. So the real question is, how many Red Bulls can me and Brad down during our time at the Red Bull Ring?
No, I'm not taking part in that one. I don't like having heart attacks during a brawl. Hugo Ortiz down the inside trying to get out of the
You're about to have him anyway.
That's Eric, Mack, and Mike Sermon, who are trying to bring me to an early grave here. Travis Bell and Chris Stewart now side by side. Oh, a little bit of a tap from the Mustang there. That's a spinner out the mid car. Going through. Who is that in the car? I don't know who that is. Okay, well, on that note, we're 30 minutes up, 30 minutes down. We're halfway through this one. That was not Joshua Bibb, but Roxy has decided to pit there with Joshua Bibb. Christopher Ondera is in the pits as well. Up front, Emily Milky leads Peridotto by 1.1 seconds. I was going to transition into talking about the points here, but these drivers have decided that I'm going to transition into a panic attack. Probably not ideal, not what I wanted here. Let's ride on board with Pinero for a second here, Patrick, and watch how he tries to get past Wedderburn.
He's going to close that gap. Going to do very nicely over the chicane. Now they're heading into the Lesmos. And now, once again, this is a corner we've seen a few incidents on already, and probably a majority of those track limit pens. Oh, and hello, Dylan Ackley. Nice to see you too. And there's a spin through the second Lesmo. And he tried it, but ultimately it just wasn't meant to be. The number 48 getting spun around. And that is not what Daniel Pinero wanted there for that exchange.
And let's dial up an external view of the replay here and see how that one happened, because I don't want to say there was contact. I don't want to say there wasn't contact. There wasn't a ounce of contact. That was on their own. That was crazy going through. Also, YouTube chat, Lime Rock. Hey, Paul and I, the donut guy, if you're listening, put Lime Rock on the schedule for next season. That's I'll offer a discount. And I don't usually do that, but I'll offer a discount if you can get me Lime Rock on the schedule. Someone like sound clip that and send that to Paul and I, as Maxwell Woodmansee and Fozzie Fazzillo are battling it out here going through these two half pit. And well, as you can see, Fozzie Fazzillo don't want to give up a position to save his life here coming through and around. And well, this is going to be an interesting run down the front stretch. Let's see how it goes. All of the LMPs but the front two have pit, I believe. No, Luke Patrick has it. Front three. Okay, I see flashing headlights. I see swerving. What do? You got traffic inside, traffic outside. You got the Liv Moss, the 691 there as well, side by side on the brakes.
Oh. Well, they're making it work right now. I mean, usually that ends in tears, but there it just ended on survival. They made it through that very, honestly, diabolical turn one, and they got through. How they did, I don't know, but look at this! 2 for the first one! That is a very deep. He went so deep, he ended up in the Mariana Trench with that one. That's a ludicrous send there.
And Paletti followed him through. Paletti followed him through just for sympathy and love. What in the crap was that? Oh.
Absolute cinema is what that was, Brad. That is not effective, but dang, was it fun to watch.
Simply lovely is where I'm leaving that one. What happened? Oh, you know, I leave, he pushed me, I push him, he pushed me, I spin off the track. It's not fair. Charles, what happened with Max? Just an incident. I feel like just an incident is going to be one of the defenses from one of these drivers at some point. There's the 45 of Patrick Rich trying to go past Travis Bell. That was Nicholas Paletti off at the end of the story. Goodness gracious me. Mamma mia. Work wrecked me Monza. Okay, so we've got 25 minutes left to go. You know what? I'm gonna pick a driver this week who is really having a good run here. He's running P20 in class, but I've also seen family members in YouTube chat going through. So, Hugo Ortiz, you get the special love of getting our on-board run this week here, as we are going to take some temporarily loud engines. And we're going to stay full screen for this one. We're not going to go side by side. We're just going to stay full screen here for some temp loud engines as he is chasing down Derek Rice in that 117 ahead. This is not a battle for class. This is a battle for overall position. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the nice, beautiful sounds of... Is he driving an Aston Martin? Let me fact check myself. Yeah, the Aston Martin here from Hugo Ortiz. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in from Temporarily Loud Engines, and Brad being gone like an extra minute than you meant to grab a bottle of water here. That was some onboard time with one Mr. Hugo Alexander Ortiz in the number 372. We got 20 minutes left to go in this race. I do want to check in up front because Emily Milkey had a long pit stop while we were away and has been relegated down to P3, is 1.2 seconds away from Dylan Ackley here, trying to catch up. Cody Peridotto up in front here as it goes. Patrick Rich has worked his way back into the lead, by the way, of GT3 AM and is ahead of Christopher Ondera after the pit stop cycle. Only driver that has not pit at the moment is Tyler Stenick, who I would guess is going to come in now because Paul Nye is in the pits. So that, should be everybody pitting in. As we have a dive into turn one here, Matthew Santerciero and Matthew Marin going through. Again, 20 minutes left to go in this race. Stenick is in. Paul Nye is on his way out of the pits here. Will he retain the lead is my question. Colin Bourdon coming out of the final turn, the famous Parabolica. He's coming down the front stretch here. Paul Nye coming out of the pits. Paul Nye will retain the lead here. Let's see what the boss man can do as he comes out to take the first chicane, and looking pretty good doing it here. It's myself, Brad, in the booth, joined by Patrick, as always, here for Elbows Out. 19 minutes left to go, and we'll have a special guest next week, which I'm pretty excited for. Somebody who is very familiar with this league. I'd almost argue more familiar with the league than me, to a degree, which is kind of impressive, all things considered. You'll have to tune in that.
Paul and I, the Spinala guy now, is a new nickname we're going to add to him as he go ahead and has a bit of a spin there. And I don't know if he got meatball flagged, and that's close between that Mustang, that number 12 again, and Fozzie Fazillo. That could have ended very, very badly. And yeah, that's bit of a Code Brown moment for Craig Yor.
So, you know what we're going to tell Paul Nye? We're telling Paul Nye that we're offering a discount for next season if Lime Rock is on the calendar, and we're not telling Paul Nye that I was spectating him when he spun, correct? Where those two things go together? Yes. Thank you. Glad everyone agrees. All right. Anyways, let's find another battle to look at. John Javicki and Steve McClendon at Catamount Solutions McLaren and that GT3 Mustang back in the background here. The Pax Ocean? John Javicki. I apologize. I should know better about who that is. Pax Ocean. There we go. Going through here as they battle along. Again, McClendon, usually we see him on ovals, and, well, he's decided to make the dive into the road racing world, and he seems to be having fun right now.
I mean, it's always cool to see drivers kind of do cross-discipline, like seeing drivers go from one racing category to another, from ovals to GT3s. Sometimes, even in the real world, we've seen examples of that. I know Connor Zilch has been making headlines recently. He had one of the most impressive rookie seasons in the Xfinity Series, and now he's actually getting a IMSA Cadillac drive at an IMSA sanctioned test. So he's getting a bit of experience in different machinery as well. But back to the original point, it's always really fun to see, even if you take out the whole cross-discipline aspect, a driver that we normally see competing in the Triple Bypass series and we're going to see him here in Elbows Out tonight. It's actually really awesome to see. And honestly, a pretty solid result here from him so far, considering it's his first race here in this series, at least as far as I'm aware.
It is his first race, and he's still running. So, I mean, he's doing something right here, let's be honest. Only 4 DNFs so far. Joel Bandera, Austin Diltz, Seth Bosselman, and Zach Nerney are 4 DNFs here of the race, with 16 minutes to go. Hard on the brake, dive in from John Javicki, trying to get past Andre Wedderburn, who is trying to chase down Christopher Ondera, who is 4 seconds up ahead here as they go through. But we're back to the scene of the sea of GT3s, and right now Emily Milky is right on the rear of Dylan Ackley here, going for a battle for P2. Meanwhile, everyone behind is, just absolutely having a time here. I don't want to say having a good time, but they're having a time. We'll say it like that as they go through. Let's see here. Emily trying to get past that number 77 of Dayton McGuire, sending it around the outside, trying to snake outside to inside. Traffic taketh, traffic giveth. Sleepy Turtles number 8 there of Kyle O'Grady going through. I saw some Sleepy Turtle love in the chat earlier, and Kyle O'Grady trying to just play the defensive smart move here on the Sleepy Turtles. Emily Milky trying to play the aggressive move, gets through, and Emily loses a little bit of time to Dylan Ackley, but is going to live to fight another day as Dayton McGuire and Kyle O'Grady swap places here. Dwight Hibbs trying to work his way through. He is a lap down to the rest of the GT3 field as they go through. Behind there, Luke Patrick trying to find his way around Daniel Pinero. It's just traffic paradise at this point. This is really where we're running, is traffic paradise.
Traffic paradise through what could be known as the traffic parabolica here as they make their way on through.
Hey-o!
And this race has been very, very hectic, as anybody who has watched this race. Honestly, you can watch this race for 3 minutes and you would have seen somebody having some kind of moment at any point, as what I believe is the lone Acura on the field is trying to go ahead and put some pressure on to Tyler Cook. It is Vincent. We'll see if he can go ahead and get some moves here. I know we talked about it probably several months ago at this point about how we wanted to see more Lamborghini love here in GT3s. Personally, I would love to see some more Acura love, because somebody that I talked to at Full Sail actually operates an IMSA team that runs the NSX GT3 Evo.
All right, well, that's impressive. So can you get me a drive?
I will try. Don't know if I got that much pull, but
I had to ask. I had to ask. There was no reason to not ask. Going through and around, that'd be a dream. Probably won't happen, but, it'd be pretty cool. You should do it at least here. I've hit this wall again here, Patrick, where I don't know where to look, because I feel like there's just an absolute disaster waiting to happen in like 9 different places on this track.
Yeah, after tonight, I can't really say I blame you, just because we've seen so many moments happen here, and you're in the steward's office tonight, so whew, you're gonna have to see all those moments a dozen times over each incident. So, Godspeed, you're gonna need it.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it, if I have to be honest. We'll do it, but I'm not saying I'm excited about it. But it's got to be done. Someone's got to do it, and I'm just thankful that I'm in a position where the league trusts me enough to make decisions like that affect drivers' futures and their points in the league. So it's pretty cool to be involved in that way. This is a league that I do genuinely love and enjoy. So let's see what happens here. Dylan Ackley, Emily Milky, still battling it out half a second. Emily's still trying to look for that run back into P2, but Dylan's doing a great job holding on. GT3 Pro, we haven't touched on this, but Colin Bourdon now 9 seconds to the good over Paul Nye, the Spinalla and the Variante guy. Again, we're not going to tell Paul that I was spectating him, but I was at the time. P3, Tyler Stenick, about another 10 seconds behind that as they go through. Patrick Rich right now has a stellar lead of 18 seconds over Christopher Ondera. Christopher Ondera at one point was indeed leading this GT3 AM category, and then this field has just spread back. And Patrick Rich, if we remember back, had that moment earlier where he slammed into the back of somebody that I don't remember who it was, unfortunately, and has managed to recover his way back around. So we'll see what happens here for that. Great racing all the way around. I've been so impressed with these guys. And I do need to talk about the points. We haven't talked about the points here, but let's talk about the points for a second here, Patrick. Looking at last week, of course, Aiden Garcia beat Cody Peridotto, but I don't think that's the big storyline when it's all said and done. I think what we really need to look at is the current driver standings as it stands. I mean, this is where I think things get exciting because Cody Peredato right now, Kel Hagen, I know you are off in our YouTube chat here hanging out. You're 40 points behind Kel Hagen or behind Cody Peredato, right? Like, and you only have a 5-point lead on Aiden Garcia. So it's interesting to see that there. And then Luke Patrick is in 4th place in the standings here. Aiden Garcia made up 4 places in the standings going through in the LMP2 category. So there's tons of good positions to be seen there. In the GT3 Pro, Tyler Stenick currently leads Colin Bourdon by 10 points. They swapped positions in the lead of GT3 Pro, and right now that lead is gonna flip again. It's gonna swing back Colin Bourdon's way over Tyler Stenick after this race, it appears. Callan Tobin, again, our race sponsor here today, running 3rd in the points. Patrick, so I've got 2 questions for you, and we're going to start with this one because so the lead, Cody Peredato to Kel Hagen, 40 points. Is there anything that can be done to take down Cody Peredato this season?
It's possible. It's always possible in racing, right? It's not over until it's mathematically impossible. I mean, anything could happen. I mean, especially with sim racing too, because the unfortunate reality of sim racing is that stuff breaks. And now, granted, Peredato's pace has just been from another planet this season and last season too. He has just been so rapid. He can start from the back of the field and pretty much somehow make his way up to the podium positions. I don't think he's been off the podium more than maybe twice this entire season so far, just to kind of get a perspective of how strong he has been throughout this season. But I think he would just really need to have a fall off here in the final few rounds here. He needs to have a fall off, and Kel Hagen needs to win pretty much every single race from here to the end of the season to have a chance of knocking off Peredato.
It's going to be hard. I don't think it's impossible, but it's going to be hard. I'll ask you the follow-up question here in GT3 Pro. Colin Bourdon, Tyler Stenick, as we see Emily Milkey and Dylan Ackley have swapped positions there, and they're now battling potentially to swap again. It looks like the battle is going to be in for P2 here as Emily shuts the door. I'm going to say she's drop-kicked that door shut there against Dylan Ackley holding on here, but now it's the long run into turn 1. We'll see how this goes here for Dylan and Emily. Now we might see some bump drafting coming up. While we watch this, though, I'm going to ask Tyler Stenick, Colin Bourdon, who is your money on between those two? Because, again, they are poised to flop positions in the points, P1, P2, yet again. Who comes out ahead in that one? Is it the Porsche of Colin Bourdon? Is it the Mustang of Tyler Stenick?
I think just considering the rest of the tracks that we have left, I think it might favor the Mustang a bit, because we know the Mustang is probably one of, if not the best in class when it comes to top speed. And Daytona is going to be a pretty heavy speed track because you got those massive oval segments. And then the Nürburgring GP is probably going to favor the Porsche. But then we take a look at next week, which next week is an interesting one here, because we head to the Red Bull Ring, which honestly could go either way for these cars. I think this is probably going to be the track where the Mustang and the Porsche are probably going to be the most even. But the car is only one half of the equation. You got the drivers, and honestly, those two are pretty much neck and neck in terms of pace in most cases. But Tyler Stenick has won the last 2 GT3 championships. GT3 Pro championships, to clarify.
Makes it interesting to think about here as we see them going past that number 45 of Patrick Rich here. running through and around. Patrick Rich still leading that GT3 AM category here. Emily doing a great job in all the right sections of the track to open up the gap, use the traffic, and do what needs to be done here, making that gap right now sit at just about half a second on the deep braking into turn 1, running a great run here. I do want to check in Andre Wedderburn, Aaron Clayball. They have been battling it out here for a little bit as they come out of the final corner here. The Parabolica heading down into turn 1 down this long straight. They do have Joshua Bibb behind here coming through. So I'll be curious to see how that handles out. Let's talk about GT3 AM though, while we're on the topic of GT3 AM. Christopher Ondera leading by 20 points over Aaron Clayball, who is currently running in P4. Ondera's P2. Daniel Pinero is only 6 points behind Aaron Clayball there as well. Do we think Ondera has that wrapped up? Do we think there is more in the tank to be found from Clayball? It's Mustang versus Aston Martin. I would argue fairly evenly matched. Maybe the Aston Martin will have a slight advantage going into the Nürburgring. I would say maybe the advantage back towards the Aston Martin in Daytona. And the Mustang will have the Red Bull ring, I believe, and it might be fairly even actually in Daytona. Good question to be found there. As Clayball runs a little bit off track, but where do you see GT3 AM going? Is it going to be Ondera, who has 1 pole, 2 wins? Will it be Aaron Clayball, the rookie here, who only has 1 win here, 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s? Going through? Where do we think that's going to go? Because Aaron Clayball has kept his nose clean. Ondera has picked up a penalty on the season.
I think it's honestly, it might even just come down to that, because the Red Bull Ring is a track that is pretty notorious for track limits as well. So that's a track limit heavy circuit. So Ondera might struggle a bit there if he has more penalties like he does, or like he's had across the season. It's going to be, once again, it's going to be another case of, it's going to be tricky, and I don't think, now one thing I will say that I know for a fact is that it's not going to be finished with any races to go. So Ondera's not going to have the title wrapped up by, say, Daytona. It's going to go down to the season finale, whichever driver ends up taking it. I think it might still go the way of Ondera, because I think overall finishing position has favored Ondera a bit, but I think Clayball is going to really give him a fight here, as we have Roxy going in and getting in a fight of her own here on this track, and they are going to duke it, almost having contact there in the back. A bit of a wiggle there just behind, and that could have ended very, very badly there.
All right, guys, there's 3 minutes left to go. You haven't finished the race yet. Let's woe it down a little bit. Black flag starting to come out for track limits for several drivers here coming through. Doug Greer, Jonathan Lanton, Hugo Ortiz has taken a black flag. Benjamin Bechtel has taken a black flag. So track limits is starting to become an issue here with 3 minutes to go. And if you have a black flag that you have not served at the end of the race, I believe it is a 60-second time penalty that gets applied. And I'll tell you right now, that is not what you want to see going into the end of a race here. Maxwell Woodman C still putting pressure on Fozzie Fazzillo. This is for P8 in class. We still have Clayball here, who is all over the back of Joshua Bibb, with Andre Wedderburn for company here, chasing down Ondera, who has lost some considerable time here, I'd say, going through. He had a bit more of a gap there to the front, but Ondera trying to run through and along. Vincent Lehebriere currently chasing down Ethan Murphy here, who has an Eagles and a Bills logo on his car. Did I just see that right? There's Bill. He had a Philadelphia Eagles on the other side. So if you just like heartbreak in NFL, I mean, I guess follow Ethan Murphy's footsteps. But what do I know here as we go? P2 Emily Milkey, 10 seconds behind Cody Perodato, the reigning champion, who is just trying to run that number 51 with 2 minutes left to go. I mean, we haven't talked about him. He didn't start on pole, but by golly, he's had a good run today.
Indeed, and that's one of the reasons why Cody Perodato is a 7-time league champion, trying to do something that, honestly, not a lot of people can say that they've done, is become an 8-time league champion in any league for that matter. sometimes even getting 2 championships in a league is a tricky one. But yeah, Cody Perodotto is on track to getting 8 of them, which is an insane number to have. That is, I mean, just drives like today are kind of the reason why he has those 7 championships. He's consistent, he's ridiculously quick, and he knows how to keep his nose clean for the most part.
That is the key to things here all the time. If you can have clean races, you can have good results. If you can be consistent with those good results, well, championships just come naturally at that point here. As we continue along around, Ethan Murphy still trying to chase down Vincent Leherbier with approximately 37 seconds to go. Let's pick up the race leader. Oh, that was a slide. Let's pick up the race leader here of Cody Perodotto and see what's going to happen really quick here. I don't think this is the white flag lap. But I'm curious. Well, no, this actually will be the end of the race. So no white flag will be thrown. He is going to cross the line directly to the checkered flag here as he goes. So let's see what happens for him. He's going to come around Parabolica for the final time. It's the Kellogg's car in front. He doesn't need to pass anyone. He doesn't need to lap anyone. But that Kellogg's car there in the run going through around Cody Perodotto. I mean, it's been a championship run. It's been domination. Nothing else really to be said. He's going to come across the line here, take the checkered flag. It's race over for Cody Perodotto, and it's a great win here at the Work Wrecked Me Monza. Nothing could wreck him. Well, don't say that too soon. Coming across the line here now, P2. Emily Milky comes through. Colin Bourdon still coming through Ascari and through. Patrick Rich will be coming through Ascari as well, going through. Let's talk about the run really quick for that 184. Actually, the 184 is still on the first sector of the track. So let's talk about Patrick Rich. We saw his big incident earlier. We saw him come back up into the front. A great pit stop shaped things up. And for him, Patrick Rich, it's just been a great run. He's barely held on to the lead because he's had to serve a drive-through for track limits, but barely holding on to the lead is still the lead. That 45 Porsche, that SRC Porsche is going to come across, claim a win here today. He'll bring it through to the line, flashing the lights for victory, and put Porsche on top in Monza. Now let's talk about Colin Bourdon, who has had a wild race here. He was in P2. It looked like it was going to be P2. And then Paul Nye had a small problem there with a spin on his outlap. And that gave Colin Bourdon the lead. Colin Bourdon then keeping the Porsche in the track limits. It's a double Porsche win in GT3. GT3 AM goes to Patrick Rich. GT3 Pro will go to Colin Bourdon. Porsche will enjoy the run today here in Monza. Typically, it's Ferrari territory, but I tell you what, the Germans showed up, they showed out, and the Porsche will cross the line with Colin Bourdon in 184 to lead GT3 Pros.
This has been a very strong day for all of our race winners here today. And I mean, Cody Perodotto's had a fantastic drive. Avoiding the chaos or trying to capitalize on coming back from the chaos was definitely the name of the game here today. I mean, we saw so many incidents here today that, I mean, even just surviving the race is definitely something to celebrate here. But we're going to go ahead and run through our LMP2 results here. It is Cody Perodotto taking another win on the season ahead of Emily Milky and Luke Patrick, rounding out our top 3 in the LMP2s. And then it is Aiden Garcia, Dylan Ackley, Nicholas Paletti, Jonathan Lanton, Maxwell Woodmansee, Fozzie Fazillo, and Dwight Hibbs, rounding out our top 10 with Austin Diltz in P11.
Moving on from there, let's talk about the GT3 Pros here as they ran. Colin Bourdon over Paul Nye in P2. Tyler Stenick in third. Mike Sermon, Chris Stewart, Ethan Murphy, Tyler Cook, Vincent Leherbier, Travis Bell, Matt Top in your top 10. From there, P11, Parker Chiapuzzo, John Javicki, Westbrook, Medley, Steve McClendon. Welcome to Elbows Out with a top 15 finish in class. Kylan Bruce, Eric Mack, Hugo Alexander Ortiz, and Zach Nerney running P20 with Joel Bandera 21st. In the GT3 Pro class. GT3 AMs to finish this off. Here is how they ran. Patrick Rich taking the lead in the win by 3.7 seconds over Christopher Ondera. Andre Wedderburn P3. Claybaugh, Bibb, McGuire, Kyle O'Grady, Matthew Santos-Sierra, Matthew Marin, and Daniel Pinero, your top 10. Patrick, remind me, Matthew Marin, I need to correct his name showing. Just send me a message of that, and I'll hopefully remember that before next week. Holland Greer, Darren Kreis, Benjamin Bechtel, Craig Yor, Doug Greer, and yes, that is 2 Greers you see, Holland and Doug, Seth Vosselman, P16, Jonathan Howe, and Greg. It's the last name. Come on, Gregory Carnathan in last place there, the 115 and P18 as it goes. So let's jump down here to our post-race show as it goes. And Cody Peridotto is here. Patrick, I'll let you talk to the undefeatable, undeniable, undisputable, quick old boy of one, Mr. Cody Peridotto.
All right, Cody, another win on the books for you here today in Monza. It was probably the most chaotic race of the season. Talk to us today about your race here, because the name of the game is pretty much just avoiding all the incidents.
Yeah, I knew that was what I was going to have to expect coming in. Monza's a track where you can make some good overtakes normally, but is prone to some carnage. So starting at the back, I knew I had to just be a little patient at the start, and inevitably something would happen, which it did. Managed to get by that. I think when we finally got to the main GT3 pack, there was a lot of shenanigans going on getting through there. So just kept it clean, and that made the race pretty much.
How did you find traffic navigation around this track? Because there are some cases where it looked incredibly dicey, especially going through turn 1.
It's hard. I think thankfully I didn't really have any super close calls into turn 1. That second chicane, I had, I think, another LMP2 I was racing with for a bit got hit entering that right behind me. So I think I barely came out unscathed, but overall it's not terrible. We usually get a pretty good run out of the corners. Just a few places like Ascari is really, really slow for the GT3s compared to us. So you just kind of swallow your pride and wait a little bit and get a good exit to lose as little as possible.
All right, 2 more questions before we let you go on the night. It is the Red Bull Ring next up, a track where track violations are aplenty, and it's also kind of a high-speed track similar to Monza. So how confident are you feeling going into next week?
I have historically kind of sucked at the Red Bull Ring, so I'm not looking for quite as good of a result next week. I'm hoping I can get good enough to at least move up from where I start. So I'm excited for the racing. I think it's going to be a good place for some good overtakes and battles, but I personally don't have super high hopes for my performance.
All right, last question before we let you go. Is there anyone you'd like to give a special thanks or shout out to after tonight's win?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Huge thank you to Callan Tobin. I know he couldn't be here today, but huge thank you to him for sponsoring the race. That's awesome. We appreciate everyone doing that. That lets us do the broadcasts and stuff every week. Big thank you to my dad, as always, Tony, for watching these things. And I appreciate the text after the races. And I appreciate you guys doing this every week. It's a lot of fun.
It's always a lot of fun being here as well, watching you guys do battle every single week. And we'll see you next week at the Red Bull Ring to see you guys do it all over again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, from there, let's pick up that number 184 of Colin Bourdon. Colin, man, what a wild race. Talk to me from the seat of a GT3, of a Porsche in GT3. How did you survive, man? Let's just start with that.
It's all about trying to keep it clean. Yeah, bittersweet win for me, really. Sad to see Paul and Tyler have little spins. They had a lot of pace, and I was looking forward to a good battle with them, so real feel for those guys.
Yeah, man, it was crazy to watch going through. I gotta ask, were there any, big hairy moments where you were kind of like, oh, all right, this is my race done and over with? For us at least, anytime an LMP2 got near a pack of GT3s, there was something big that was happening to talk about.
No, not really. It was all pretty quiet for me. It's pretty lucky. Yeah, it looked like I have a track map and I could see pretty big clusters of cars, and I was never really a part of one of those, so that's always good.
Well, I think you were lucky on that one then. So I guess final question here on the day is, well, two questions, of course, but I guess my final race related question here is next week is Red Bull Ring. How are you feeling in that 184 for the Red Bull Ring? Where do you think you're going to find yourself next week?
Hard to tell. There's quite a few tracks this season that I don't really know very well, and that's one of them. So I know that that's an off-track nightmare sometimes. So we'll see how that goes. Monza is too sometimes. So and managed that pretty well. So who knows?
I think it'll be interesting to watch either way, regardless of how it goes. It'll be a fun one, at least on my side. So last question here on the night. Anyone you want to take a shout out before we let you go?
Yeah. Sim City Racing, my wife, my daughter, my mom, all the boys back at the factory, all the sponsors, of course. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you to Paul for facilitating all this. It's awesome. Love it week to week. Really look forward to it. So good job, Paul.
Yeah, show Paul some love, because I totally didn't commentate or curse him here in the booth or anything. Yeah, Colin, congratulations, man. We'll catch up with you later, and again, congratulations on the big win.
Yep, thank you. Talk to you guys later.
All right, and Patrick, I do not see our GT3 AM winner of Patrick Rich around, so this is going to be where we end this one this week. I think Monza showed up, showed out, showed off, and yeah, I don't really have another word to say on that one other than showed up, showed out, showed off, and was an absolute lot of fun here for the Work Direct Me Monza, brought to you by Callan Tobin. Again, lots of love to him. Yeah, any final thoughts before we send this one off in the sunset? Because I can't think of any final thoughts.
This race has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of carnage. It's been a lot of spaghetti and meatball flags here today at the Temple of Speed, but that's something we've come to expect. But regardless, the one thing that we do know is, like you said earlier, it doesn't matter what country we go to, what track we race at, Elbows Out Racing always delivers here, and it delivered here once again this week, and I have zero doubts that it's going to deliver again next time at the Red Bull Ring.
All right, and of course, to get to next week, we have to get through this week. And what do we have coming up this week? Tomorrow, I believe there's E-Car, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, we have Triple Bypass coming up on Sunday, and then tons of fun things coming up here soon. It's getting into the busy end of the year here on PTR TV. So if you haven't liked, subscribed, we're chasing 2,000 by the end of 2025, and I feel like we can get there. We just need that little bit of help to make our way to the end. On behalf of Patrick, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish this week. Be sure to join us next time where we'll take you start to finish yet again. Good night.